for their floating wetlands project in the island of Pulau Ubin in Singapore, where the person in charge is Vincent Lim Han. Now, it is my personal pleasure to announce the winner of the Academy's Superior Achievement for Excellence in Environmental Engineering and Science. The award is presented to the Los Angeles County Sanitation Districts for their Sustainable Green Fleet, Clean Fuel for LA Today project in Los Angeles, California, where the engineer in charge is Robert C. Ferrante. Today, we are honored to have Los Angeles County Sanitation Districts with us. At this time, I would like to introduce David Bolderoff, Fleet Manager at Los Angeles County Sanitation Districts. David will be speaking with us about this project. Hello, David. The floor is yours whenever you're ready.
Thanks, Israel. Okay, good morning from Los Angeles. First of all, I just wanted to congratulate all the winners today. And start off by saying, Los Angeles Sanitation Districts is really honored to be recognized today. And we're really kind of excited to have the opportunity to share some of the cool stuff we're doing here in Los Angeles. So first off, I just wanted to talk about fossil fuels. It's no secret that our lives revolve around fossil fuels, from the vehicles we drive to the Amazon packages delivered every day to our doorsteps. However, the use of fossil fuels at a current rate of growth is just not sustainable. And really, due to the finite resource that it is, and secondly, fossil fuel consumption or combustion is the biggest source of human-caused greenhouse gas emissions in the United States. As you can see from the chart on the right, the use of coal started to increase in the mid-1800s, and in 2019 represented 32% of the total fossil fuel consumption. This was followed by oil in the early 1900s, which was only 100 years ago, and now represents 39% of the fossil fuel consumption. And then natural gas didn't see a significant increase in usage till the mid-1900s, and now represents 29% of the fossil fuel consumption. So the biggest point to note here is over the past 100 years, there's been a 10x increase in consumption of fossil fuels. And that trajectory clearly just is not sustainable. Okay, at LACSD, we are a special district that manages solid waste and wastewater assets. To operate these essential facilities and provide the required services to our communities, we operate a large fleet of vehicles and equipment, some pictured here. We have 687 on-road vehicles, 85 utility carts, and 354 pieces of heavy off-road equipment. In 2020, the districts traveled over 4 million miles, and the off-road equipment was used over 140,000 hours. Historically, the district's fleet of vehicles and heavy equipment has been a significant consumer of fossil fuels, both gasoline and diesel. Knowing this, we started to ask questions like, how can we change this? And how can we do it in a sustainable and cost-effective manner? To address these issues and reduce our carbon footprint, we focused on these three key areas. One is the use of technology and data to optimize asset utilization and reduce fuel consumption of our existing fleet. Two is the transition to alternative and renewable fuels. And three, the purchase of more fuel-efficient vehicles and equipment with hybrid technologies. Okay, telematics. Vehicles and equipment are becoming smarter with onboard computers and hundreds, if not thousands, of sensors. We all see this in our own personal vehicles. We have been remotely accessing and monitoring this data in our fleet using telematics for the past 12 years now. From a desktop computer or a smartphone, we can see how efficient the vehicles or equipment are operating and identify driver behaviors that potentially need improvement. The data we collect allows us to create metrics and optimize our fleet size and composition. Through fuel burn, idle time, and utilization reports, we can understand when equipment is under or oversized for the application and adjust accordingly. Using benchmarks, we can compare the data from our various operations to ensure we're operating at peak performance and really optimizing fuel usage. Okay, fuel consumption. Here you can see a graph of our historical fuel usage over the past 5 years. We're able to actually reduce our overall fuel consumption from 1.3 million gallons in 2016 to 840,000 gallons in the past 5 years. That's 25% reduction, which is very significant for the size of fleet we have. And not only were we able to reduce it by 25%, at the same time we increased our renewable fuel usage from 3% in 2016 to 53% in 2020. Transitioning to alternative renewable fuels has required a lot of research and engineering work. We had to identify and verify how much fuel each vehicle or piece of equipment actually required on a daily basis. We had to identify how much fuel storage tanks we needed on that, where would we put these fuel storage tanks, and to not impact the operation of the vehicle or the visibility for the operator. We had to design and install new fuel infrastructure and then train staff on the use of that infrastructure, as well as maintenance and repair practices. Okay, hybrid technologies. There's been a lot of publicity around electrification of on-road vehicles to reduce fossil fuel consumption, but we've really been able to make a huge impact using these hybrid powertrains on our heavy equipment. Two great examples of this are pictured here. On the right-hand side, you can see a D7 track dozer. We have over 1,600 operating hours on 3 of these machines at our transfer stations and landfills. They have proven to reduce fuel consumption by 41%, with a total reduction of 60,000 gallons to date. And that's the same as removing 172 passenger cars from the road. On the left-hand side, you can see a Cat 966M XE wheel loader with a hybrid powertrain dual-stage transmission. We have over 44,000 operating hours on 5 of these machines at our material recovery facilities. They have proven to reduce fuel consumption by 32%, with a total reduction of 80,000 gallons to date. That's the same as removing 230 passenger cars off the roads in LA. Renewable natural gas. Here at LACSD, we have over 20 years of experience using natural gas for vehicle fuel. Currently, we operate 90 CNG-powered vehicles, which is over 14% of our fleet. And we continue to expand into the medium and heavy-duty classes, with it being the cleanest commercially available technology available today. Over the past year, we have invested over $3.5 million in new and upgraded infrastructure. And we're making these fuel stations open to the public and are seeing a huge demand for it here in the local region. At one of our recent upgraded stations, demand has increased by over 400%, and we've seen a 90% of that fuel being used by other companies. So it proves the theory: when you build it, they will come. Okay, renewable diesel. This has been one of our easiest transitions, yet has had a huge impact on our greenhouse gas emission reductions for our fleet. Renewable diesel is surprisingly not known by many around the world. And no, it's not biodiesel, a misperception, one of the biggest misperceptions. Dr. Sanderson actually talked about that in his presentation this morning on alternative waste products such as algae that could be used for creating this type of biofuel. Okay, both renewable diesel and biodiesel are made from renewable feedstocks such as waste fats, oils, and greases. But they are very different fuels due to the different refining process. RD is refined by hydrotreatment, and biodiesel by transesterification. We did a lot of research on biodiesel and renewable diesel, but renewable diesel was easily our #1 choice due to its superior properties. Much are listed here. Over the past year, 80% of our diesel has been renewable diesel, which reduces greenhouse gas emissions by approximately 75%. I'm pleased to announce that we've recently exceeded 1 million gallons of RD usage since transitioning as little as 3 years ago. Currently, we are saving 27 cents per gallon and that's $2,000 per tanker load of bulk delivery. Again, that's 27 cents a gallon that we're saving, and $2,000 per tanker delivery. Can you believe that? We're not only significantly reducing greenhouse gas emissions, but we're saving money at the same time. So this is really a huge win for us. Earlier this month, our board approved a new supply agreement, which will allow us to get RD to all of our facilities. This will facilitate us increasing our usage from around 80% over the past year or two to 100% going into next year. So we're very excited about that. Okay, electrification. This is in California at the moment, a real big push to electrify everything. We started electrifying our fleet in 2018 with the purchase of 7 Chevy Bolt EVs. Today we have 62 light-duty vehicles in service. So basically we've really kind of expanded a lot over the past 3 years. We've built our EV charging infrastructure at 6 of our facilities with a total of 84 chargers to date. Pictured here is our first 4 DC fast chargers installed at our main administrative office in Whittier, California. We took delivery of our first 100% electric ride-on mower last year, pictured here on the right. It's called the Mean Green Rival. Grounds maintenance equipment typically operate on gasoline or diesel fuel. This has recently been flagged as a significant air polluter in the local region. So we're actively seeking ways to address these types of equipment as well. I'm also excited to announce that last month we executed a funding agreement with our local air quality management district to purchase our first 5 heavy-duty plug-in trucks. These are the big semis that you'd see on the road. We hope to get those trucks in service next year and start piloting that technology for operations to really get a good understanding of how the battery life is for our particular operation. Okay, our mission. Our mission at LACSD is detailed here. And how does this align with our fuel and fleet sustainability strategies? The key here is convert waste into resources. Here at the districts, we're in a very unique position. We created over 77 megawatts of renewable energy last year from biogas produced at our landfills and wastewater treatment facilities. This green energy is enough to power thousands of homes in the local region, but we can also use that same power for our fleet. There are considerable credits available at a federal level, RINs, and at a state level, LCFS, to create pathways for this renewable fuel source, like biogas to vehicle fuel. These credits help offset the high capital cost of infrastructure and can really be the turning point to make projects cost effective. Okay, food waste to vehicle fuel. This is a very project that we're very proud of over the past couple of years. It is estimated that there are 3 million tons of organic waste like food waste, green waste, landscape waste, and garden waste disposed in our landfills, or roughly 4,000 tons per day here in just the LA region. Source-separated food waste from local restaurants and grocery stores are received at our Ponte Hills MRF. In 2019, we installed a bioseparator at the facility to convert food waste into a pumpable slurry. Here you can see one of our wheel loaders on the right-hand side feeding that waste into our bioseparators. Okay, from there, after the food waste is processed at our MRF, it is transported in tanker trailers to our JWPCP facility in Carson, California, where it is injected into wastewater treatment digesters. The picture at the bottom left-hand corner shows a slurry receiving station at our JWPCP facility. Through anaerobic digestion process, we can create additional biogas that can be converted to electricity or scrubbed and used as natural gas, both sources of fuel for our fleet. In 2020, with increased production of biogas at our digesters, we built a new biogas conditioning system. It takes the gas from our digesters and converts it into vehicle-grade fuel. It does this by pressurizing it into a single membrane system at around 160 psi. At 62% methane, when the gas enters the single membrane system, it removes the CO2 from the stream, and then gas that meets 88% methane is considered RNG and is delivered to a storage tank or a vehicle fuel system. Okay, we're making most of our alternative and renewable fuel stations open to employees and the public, and really encouraging their adoption of alternative fuel vehicles. This provides increased utilization of our infrastructure and a lower cost of fuel for all parties involved. Another way to support the communities we operate in. It is important to train vehicle users on the new green fuel technology. As such, we have a detailed onboarding process whenever we put a new vehicle into service. This significantly helps with the adoption. We continue to support employees purchasing EVs for their personal commuting requirements, providing rideshare incentives, EV charging infrastructure at a very low cost, and we host staff education sessions with guest speakers. The transition to alternative fuels has required the districts to review and adjust maintenance practices. With electric vehicles, there is no internal combustion engine, which means no oil changes. Mechanics have adapted well to the increased electronics, smart hydraulic systems and transmissions, different fuel types, and the need for pressure vessel inspections. Okay, how have we achieved this much success so quickly? We have some really great engineers in our organization working on these projects, but what has really elevated our game is the collaboration piece. We've been able to draw down on a vast amount of resources and expertise by collaborating with partners such as local utilities, regulatory agencies, and private companies using design and build RFPs. These are just a few of our partners along the journey. Okay, what next? Our work towards decarbonising our fuel requirements and diverting organics from landfills has resulted in a reduction of 46,000 metric tonnes of CO2 equivalent of greenhouse gas emissions. So we're very proud of that fact. But the great work that we're doing with this transition is not complete. We're continuing to focus on expanding the EV charging network at our facilities to meet the expanding needs. This expansion will require a greater number of DC fast charging stations to support the future medium and heavy duty EVs we are planning to obtain. We are committed to reducing our carbon footprint by expanding the production of renewable energy for the region in a very cost-effective manner. We're also open to exploring other options for renewable fuels, including hydrogen. This can be also created from biogas. Hydrogen has gained recent popularity, particularly as a long-haul transportation fuel due to its denser properties compared to batteries. Finally, we just wanted to encourage everyone on the call today and public and private companies to start looking at their fossil fuel usage and identify ways to transition to alternative renewable fuels. Don't wait for regulations and mandates. Be proactive. And you can reach me if you want to talk more about these projects or connect with me on LinkedIn, where I kind of commonly share information about our project updates.
Thank you, David, for the very informative presentation. We appreciate your time with us today. And again, congratulations on the award.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are in a new era. As the cost and scopes of environmental engineering and science projects increase, effectively educating the public has become increasingly important. This is the basis for the Environmental Communications Award. We have one environmental award to present today. The grand prize is presented to the Los Angeles County Sanitation District for their program created to connect with the community during COVID-19. The person in charge here was Robert C. Ferrante. Again, congratulations, Los Angeles County Sanitation District. In conclusion, Dr. Daniel Orther, President-elect of the American Academy of Environmental Engineers and Scientists, would like to say a few words. Dr. Orther?
Thanks, Israel. I appreciate that introduction. I think one of the things that's important to think about for our academy is to think about the history of where we've been and the role that we are playing currently and the trajectory of what we're looking at for the future. When we think about